Welcome back to another episode of Those Two Dudes. It's that dude, Josh.
That's that dude, Ruben.
Man, we are back at it another week. More rankings, more power rankings, more polls. I mean, so much excitement. Obviously, we got a lot to talk to in college football, but let's dive right into the NFL. There's been a ton of changes in my top 10. I'm sure there hasn't been in yours. Josh, let's jump right into it, man. Yeah, tell me what you got. Well, I guess we'll start 10-6. What do you got?
10-6. So coming in at number 10, dropping down from all the way from number 4 is the Las Vegas Raiders. Coming in at number 9, I got the previously unranked Green Bay Packers. Number 8, I got the previously unranked LA Chargers. Number 7, up from number 9, I got the Baltimore Ravens. And at number 6, previously at number 8, I got the Dallas Cowboys. What you think?
You're really low on Green Bay.
Green Bay, well, they had that terrible loss against the Saints to start the year where they got destroyed. So
hold on.
Working their way back up there.
Let me finish that thought because I'm assuming you have Buffalo in your top 5. Yes or no?
Correct.
So why isn't Buffalo penalized for having a terrible home loss against the 1-3 Steelers?
Well, that was one. Okay. We didn't know at the time. We didn't know Pittsburgh was terrible.
At the time, we didn't know New Orleans was terrible. And New Orleans,
I mean, perhaps we didn't know that, but I had a thought with Jameis Winston at quarterback, they weren't going to be great. I felt better about Pittsburgh than I did New Orleans coming into the season, I'd say.
Okay. That's fine.
And also, okay, I'd have to, you know what? That's a good point. You might have me there. I have to also look at their wins. Who has the better wins out of them two?
They're both 3-1.
Both 3-1. But as far as who they've beaten.
Green Bay's beaten San Francisco in San Francisco. That's a tough win. They never win in San Francisco. They just beat the Steelers, a team that Buffalo lost to. They beat them by 10. And then who else did they beat? Oh, they beat the Lions. Lions aren't good, but that's a division opponent, so you have to play them twice.
So look, who would have you had higher ranked starting the season, Buffalo or Green Bay?
To start the season? Oh, that's a good question. Probably
because
Buffalo.
Of the turmoil with Aaron Rodgers and all that stuff.
Sure, yeah.
So I guess that's part of it as well. So they both lost week 1. Buffalo didn't fall all the way out because I was higher on Pittsburgh than I was New Orleans at that time. So it kind of has to do with where they were just the last few weeks as far as why Buffalo.
That's fair. And Buffalo is the best. Buffalo's the best team in the AFC. I just think they've had a much softer schedule to date than Green Bay has had.
That's fair. So I'll say this. The teams in my top 5 are all teams I'm sold on to be able to compete for a Super Bowl, except for maybe one of them.
Yep, we're probably on the same page there.
And I think I'd probably still be a little bit higher on Buffalo than Green Bay as far as competing for a Super Bowl.
And I think I agree.
AFC, NFC.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Okay. So let me give you mine so we can compare.
Okay.
So at number 10. And I'm starting to lose sight of records here because now we're really starting to see how good teams are, regardless of their record. And I think that matters more in the NFL than it does in college.
Yeah, so that's a good point. So NFL power rankings are a little different than a college football top 25. Power rankings is just it's got a lot to do with how good you are right now. Whereas college football top 25, you want to kind of look at the whole season as a total, more so than the power rankings of the NFL, I'd say.
Sure. Yeah. So at number 10, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 9, I have the Chargers. I know you have the Chargers in there. At number 8, I have Baltimore, the Ravens. They had a good win in Denver. Number 7, I have Dallas, which is crazy because you have them higher than I do, and Dallas is my team. And then
I thought they'd be in your top 5, honestly.
Well, I didn't want to be the stereotypical Cowboys fan. Okay. But yeah, 7 is Dallas, and then at 6 I have Cleveland.
Okay. Pretty similar. I noticed you don't have the Raiders anymore in your top 25 or your top 10.
No. I think that Chargers game was important because that's a division opponent. It's one thing if not, but I mean, if you're going to prove to be the best in the conference, you got to beat your division opponents who you're going to play twice.
I believe I nearly dropped them out, but I have them at 10. I think their wins, they have too many quality wins. They're still 3-1, and I believe they had 2 or 3 quality wins.
I'm not saying they're a bad team. I mean, they are a good team
either. I'm definitely not sold on them.
Yeah.
They're probably of my top 20 or my top 10 power rankings, they might be the team I'm least sold on, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I gave a lot of credit to their 3-1 and their quality wins they had to start the season. So
yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, look, that's not a bad pick. That division is tough because the worst team in that division is the Chiefs, record-wise. And right. I mean, I think everybody can assume they're going to be there at the end, towards the end at least. So yeah, that's where I'm at with my my bottom half of the 10. So 5-1. Who do you got?
Okay, coming in at number 5, following down from the number 1 spot, the LA Rams. Coming in at number 4, up from number 6, I got the Buffalo Bills. Coming in at number 3, coming up from number 5 is the Cleveland Browns. And staying put at number 2 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the new number 1 from number 3 is the Arizona Cardinals.
That's a big change. That's a big difference than mine. We have the same top 2. We have the same. Look, I'll tell you mine. Number 5, I have Buffalo. Defensively, they've been playing lights out, and they are starting to click. And the AFC is just a little bit easier than the NFC because the NFC seems loaded this year.
Yeah.
So they're number 5, and they'll probably be making their way up throughout the season. Number 4, I have Green Bay. I think since that week 1, they've just been rolling. They got it together now. They're rolling. It looks like typical Green Bay. Yeah, they look really good. Number 3, I have the Rams. I know they lost to Arizona. That's a division opponent. Games like that, I'm willing to bet that when they play in Arizona, the Rams win that game. That's just how those division games are. And so, yeah, I'm sold on the Rams. I know what their offense is. And look, I think they were just kind of caught by surprise by Arizona by how good they are, because Arizona is good. Maybe they just didn't realize how good.
Arizona whooped Tennessee. They were undefeated coming into that game. But there's no reason they should have been caught off guard. There was a bad lot. They lost by 11 points, I believe, at home.
For the Rams?
Yeah.
I thought it was by 18, wasn't it?
Well, the 18, it was double digits.
Yeah, it was double digits.
So, yeah, it was a pretty bad loss. So I dropped them a little further. They're still, look, I had them as my Super Bowl favorite as far as coming out of the NFC. So,
yeah.
I think a home loss that bad, they had to fall a couple more spots, especially because there's other teams that I think are right there with them as far as talent goes.
Mm-hmm.
But look, they're still in my top 5. It's early in the season. It doesn't really matter at this point.
You got the Rams. I got the Rams at 3, and then at 2, I got Tampa Bay, and 1, I got Arizona.
Okay, so
I know you have Cleveland up there. I had Cleveland at 6, and obviously they won. I think I dropped them because they were at number 5 last week. I wasn't too convinced. I thought the win in Minnesota was a good win, but I didn't like how they won. They couldn't do anything offensively. And that worries me about Baker Mayfield because he's on a contract year right now, and he according to the Cleveland front office, based on the fact that they haven't given him an extension, they're not sold on him yet.
I don't know that he's going to be a great NFL quarterback, but look, with this roster, I think Cleveland has one of the best rosters in the NFL. He just needs to be efficient, not turn the ball over, make the right plays. As far as don't try to do too much is basically what he's got to do. If he can do that, I think Cleveland's going to be fine. So their number 3 spot for me is more how I feel about their roster as a whole more than anything else. And I think they have 1 loss on the year. So They're doing fine. No, and they won in Minnesota, so Minnesota's not a terrible team.
No, they're 1-3, but I still feel like they're a decent team.
Yeah. They're a decent team, I believe, too. And winning on the road in the NFL is hard. I'm just sold on Cleveland's roster, so
yeah. And honestly, it bothers me that he hasn't figured it out yet with Odell. I don't know.
Is Odell still Odell though?
I think it just says more about the system in Cleveland and what they're trying to do, and that they don't really need him. And so, I mean, if I had to guess, I think I think Odell doesn't finish the season in Cleveland.
Hey, another. I know you're high on Green Bay. Another thing working in their favor is they're not in the greatest division in the NFC. So
no, yeah, Green Bay's not. Lions.
I think the Vikings are okay, but look, like you said, 1-3 to start.
The Lions and Bears. I mean, godly I don't think Matt Nagy's not going to make it to the end of the year. He's not. The Lions. I mean, yeah. At what point do the fans start boycotting, like having the Lions play in Detroit anymore? I don't know. Well, I guess they're used to this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If they haven't done it yet, I think they're just lifers. Bad lifers.
It's honestly, it's just probably surprising when they do win. As bad as it, I feel bad for them, but you know. Okay, well, hey, there's still a lot to happen. There are some super exciting games this weekend. We got the Rams at Seattle. That's going to be a big game because obviously Seattle's always up there.
They came off a big win against San Francisco, correct?
In San Francisco. Yeah. We got Cleveland at LA Chargers this weekend. That's going to be a good game.
Yes, that's a very nice game. That'll tell me more about the Chargers. I think the Chargers are pretty legit, but this game will tell us some more.
Yep,
they've had some big games already, but building that consistency, you got to be consistent, especially in that division, because if not, you can fall behind pretty quickly. So
yeah. Another game, 2 more games I have that are big this weekend. We got the 49ers at Arizona. I think that's big because I think those division games are big for Arizona. They have to keep winning those.
Niners need that game more than them, coming off a loss against Seattle last week.
But also keep in mind, Trey Lance is going to be starting now for the 49ers. So maybe this whole thing turns around for San Francisco.
It's interesting. That's an interesting game right there.
Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting one. And then the next one, this is going to tell us all we need to know about the AFC. The Bills at the Chiefs this weekend.
That's that's some big games, like you said.
Yeah. So
talk about. I just want to bring it up real quick. My poor Titans lost to the Jets, but the Jets.
I watched that game.
Now, granted, I didn't know this going into the game, but AJ Brown
and Julio Jones
were both out. So, I take it with the grain of salt, but that's a tough loss. Especially,
honestly,
all we had to do is make the field goal in overtime. We could at least put a tie to it. We couldn't even make the field goal in overtime.
This is the worst division in football, the AFC South.
It's up there.
No, it's the worst division.
If the Titans don't win that division, it's just, oh man, yeah. I think our coach could be on the hot seat. Why am I drawing a blank on our coach?
Mike Vrabel,
yeah. New England Patriots.
I hope not, because I like Mike Vrabel, but yeah, he needs to turn this thing around because
there's no excuse for us not to win this division.
None. There's no excuse.
Julio Jones, Derrick Henry. Yeah, there's no. If we lose this division, then he might have to go. I don't know.
Yeah, but hey, on the flip side though, my Cowboys, man,
they're looking good.
They are looking great.
I hope Cowboys fans ain't getting ahead of themselves, though. I'm sure they are.
Oh, of course. That's just, of course that is. With every single win,
they are looking good.
With every single win comes a new banner that somebody's putting up somewhere.
Are you sold on their defense already? I know their corner. He looks like a stud.
I am sold on the defense for the simple. Well, Trayvon Diggs looks like an all-star. I mean, first of all, he is an all-star. He looks like just an absolute stud out there. In a surprise move, they released Jalen Smith last night, or was it this morning maybe? Which is like that came out of left field. But you got Micah Parsons. I don't do. We're moving pretty good right now. I don't know. I mean, I am sold on the defense.
All the defense has to do is be decent. As long as the defense is decent, they can win because their offense is so good.
Yeah, at this point, it seems like the division is a runaway, right? Because we're 3-1.
That division's right up there with the worst division too. But yeah, I think the Titans division's probably a little bit. I think it's worse than the Cowboys. But the Cowboys, I mean, yeah, the NFC East ain't great either.
No, the NFC is not great, but they have the Cowboys, which makes it better than the AFC South.
Well, we got the Titans, but yeah, I think. Look, I don't know. We
Titans just lost to the Jets. You're saying, we got
without our top two receivers,
but you still lost.
Yeah, so I mean, look, if we had even one of them receivers, we probably win that game by a touchdown at least. We went to overtime without our two receivers, the two receivers. Anyways, yeah, it's still a bad loss, like you said, but I think the Titans are probably, I don't know if they're right there with the Cowboys, but I think at the end of the year, if they get healthy and they start gelling, I think they can be. But I still think the NFC East is a little better because I think those other teams are probably a little further. Jaguars are awful.
The Jaguars are so bad. Urban Meyer's dancing. He's over there cheating on his wife. They're so bad.
I didn't even see that.
You didn't, Josh? You didn't see that?
No. Is that what happened? Like so legit?
After the game.
Is this a rumor? Is this a rumor?
No, there's video of it. So after the game, this is great. After the game in Cincinnati, Urban Meyer didn't fly back with the team. He stayed there because he went to see his grandparents or parents or whatever. So while he stayed there, because his parents live in Columbus or something like that, he has a bar out there. So he went to this bar.
He owns a bar?
Yeah, he owns a bar out there. It's called Urban Meyer Pine House. So he went out to his own bar. And then I guess it was Saturday. So it was like packed with a lot of like college kids and everyone's getting turned. Everyone's dancing. And he was sitting there and he looked like he was drunk, having a few, and some girls just started dancing around him. And I mean, I'll have to send you the video. The video speaks for itself, but it looks like.
Come on, man. He can't equate that to cheating. That's a stretch, no?
Gosh, man, you're crazy. I'll show you the video, man.
It's not a nothing story. It's a something story.
Well, I'll say he was sitting on a stool. The girl was like twerking and grinding on him, and he did have his hand around her waist. And they were taking selfies together too.
The college girl?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so,
I'm a little surprised. I'll be honest.
At the end of the day, that's a distraction. And when you're in the NFL, you're held to much higher standards than you are in college. So when you're a distraction to your team, that's 0-4. When already the team doesn't really have, they have a grain of salt of respect for you going into the season. That's out the window. And there are rumors that he apologized to his team. And he apologized to each position, like a position players. And after he left, the rumors were that the players were just laughing at his apology because he hasn't gained their respect. So I don't know. And then look,
do we know this, or are these just rumors? Like why are we saying he doesn't have their respect? Like. I know he's never coached in the NFL, but he's one of the best college coaches of all time.
This rumor is coming off of a couple of Jaguars beat writers.
Okay.
Multiple. So it's multiple. And it's not some just like Joe Smo with the podcast like us. It's people that are affiliated with the Jaguars organization. They're writers. So look, I mean, you're 0-4. you have the scandal that comes out with video because we're in the 21st century, social media, it pops up immediately. He loses respect for his players. He has to have a one-on-one meeting with the owner. He has to apologize to the owner. He has to have a conference where he apologizes. Pair that up with, I'm just throwing this out there, but USC hasn't found their head coach yet.
I was just about to say that. I think he might have an eye on USC already. And they were talking about him to USC years ago already.
Uh-huh.
And now that job finally opened up, he's struggling in the NFL. I'm sure he hates losing, and that's all he's doing.
Tell you, those parties at USC, Pete Carroll can vouch because I know Pete, back when Pete Carroll was there, he attended those parties. Urban Meyer would be better suited to party in Southern California than he would in Jacksonville or in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
Look,
if that happens, I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised. And, we put the poll up on our Instagram if Urban Meyer, if he makes it to the end of the season. And last I checked, it was 100% that no, he does not make it to the end of the season.
I think I was one of those no.
So,
yeah.
Urban Meyer to USC. That's crazy.
Awesome.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But hey, speaking of Urban Meyer, speaking of USC, let's go into college football, man. Let's go into college football. A lot happened in college football this weekend. There was some great games, a ton of upsets. God, I don't even know where to start.
So you want to start our way from 25 down? I know last week we went 1 to 25. I think, look, there's a few changes up top. I think we can go 25 to 1 if you want.
Let's do 25 to 21. Go ahead.
Okay. 25 to 21. Coming in at number 25, previously unranked, Western Michigan, the Broncos. Coming in at number 24, previously unranked, Wake Forest. Coming in.
You didn't have Wake Forest ranked last week?
No, they didn't have quality. They didn't have enough quality wins. I still ain't sold on their wins, but they're 5-0. And
okay.
There wasn't many options down there. Coming in at number 23, Arizona State, previously unranked. Coming in at number 22, last week at 25, the UTSA Roadrunners.
Oh, brother.
Coming in at number 21, last week number 23, the SMU Mustang.
I mean, first of all, your bottom 5 of the top 25 is just all wrong.
All wrong.
Did you just throw a dart on a dartboard of all the teams in college football?
No. I weeded out specifically 24 and 25, and there was 4 other teams that are just outside. Well, really, there was 5 teams for 2 spots. I took Wake Forest at 24. I have Western Michigan at 25, but I could have also gone with Texas Tech, Oregon State, Stanford. I know you'd say Auburn. I have them on my just out, but they're the last of my just out.
Why do you have Texas Tech just out?
They're 4-1. They have a good solid win against Houston. They just beat West Virginia. Not terrible. Their only loss is to UT. I know they got drilled by UT, but Houston's 4-1. Houston's 4-1, and Texas Tech is the team that beat Houston. They beat also West Virginia, who's not great, but I don't think West Virginia's necessarily terrible either.
West Virginia beat Virginia Tech. That says something.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And
all right.
Texas Tech is one of my first teams out.
All right. My 25 to 21. Here's the correct one. So my 25 to 21, number 25, I have San Diego State.
Oh my gosh. Barely? Why are they barely in your top 20? Okay, go ahead. I digress.
Number 24, I have Florida. I was hanging on by them.
Oh, you told me my top. Your first 2 are just mind-blowing to me already.
You have Western Michigan.
Yes, bro.
You have Western Michigan.
4-1. Their only loss is to Michigan. They also beat Pittsburgh, who's 4-1. They're Pittsburgh's only loss. They're 4-1. Their only loss is to a top 10 team. What's up?
All right.
Can't get no love for the Broncos out of the
No,
MAC.
the only people that are getting excited about that is Kalamazoo, Michigan. That's it. All right. Number 23, I have NC State. I didn't like their win this weekend, but, I kept them at 23.
Look, let me speak on that real quick before you get to your other two. Yes, it wasn't pretty. They won by 7 points against Louisiana Tech. But look, I know Louisiana Tech's 2-3. But
here we go.
They be 5-0. They lost on a Hail Mary to SMU. They blew a 21-point lead to Mississippi State. And then they have the 7-point close loss to NC State. So that 2-3 team could easily be 5-0. They're not terrible. They're obviously not great. But look, they're coming off of a win against Clemson, against Louisiana Tech. That was 2-2. They probably slept a little bit, probably didn't think Louisiana Tech was any good, maybe based on their conference, maybe based on the record. They still got the dub, and they're still 4-1 with the win against Clemson. So
yeah,
I got them moving up just a little bit, but yeah, it wasn't a great win, but you didn't even move them at all, did you?
I don't think I did. No, but they're still in. They're still at 23. At 22. At 22, I have Arizona State. I think you have them at 22, right?
23, but
23?
Yeah, right
okay.
there.
I have them at 22, and then 21, I have SMU.
So you got two of your 5 bottom 25 teams are all right. Your other 3 are wrong.
What do you mean? You have Eastern Illinois Tech University.
Give me your 25 and 24 again. Who was 25?
San Diego State. You have them in your top 10.
They've been in the top 25 for weeks now. Look, they have 2 Pac-12 wins. They're undefeated.
Hold on. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me about just now putting San Diego State in when you have UTSA. What do you have UTSA at?
22.
They beat UNLV by 7.
Okay.
What's their are they 1-4?
Yeah, they're not good, but they still won. They still beat Memphis.
So that means that they deserve to be in the top 25 because they beat a 1-4 team, UNLV, by 7.
I had them in the top 25 before the UNLV game.
So let me ask you, because we've look, UTSA is going to keep winning. We know that. Okay. So you're just going to keep moving them up.
Look, I know their schedule's not great.
It's not.
They're going to move up if they keep winning, but obviously there's a ceiling. They're not going to finish number 4 in my rankings, but yeah, they could keep moving up. Honestly, I think they have a very good team. Outside of their QB, I'm sold on them.
At best,
I'm not sold on.
At best, if UTSA finishes undefeated, I have them 17 or 16. At best.
They could get to 10.
No, they can't. Stop it. No, they can't.
Look. I don't know about the rest of the Conference USA, but
it's not good. It's not good.
It's not great. I'm trying to think of teams. And look, I know UTEP's 4-1, but they got destroyed by the only decent team they played, Boise. So I can't really mention that. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't look good, man. The schedule doesn't look good. But I like UTSA. I really like UTSA.
But UTSA has a road game this weekend at Western Kentucky, who's I think 1-3.
Yes, but they're better than the record says.
Okay, but even at that, I just don't understand how if you are a ranked team and you're playing on the road at Western Kentucky, that's 1-3. Why is Vegas making you an underdog? If you are a ranked team, why are you an underdog?
Look,
because you're not that good.
Perhaps, but I don't think rankings should be based on Vegas predictions. I think predictions should be based on what you've done and what we see on the TV. And what I see is a solid offensive line with they have a great running back, and the quarterback I'm not sold on. But other than that, look, I think the coaching is obviously done some wonders with this program. I just like them. I like their roster other than their quarterback. And I don't hate their quarterback. I'm not sold on him.
All right, we got to move on to this. I'm starting to get my heart's beating.
You're barely putting San Diego State. Who was your 24? That one was another mine. Oh, Florida. Florida has 2 losses. Who's their good win?
Huh?
Who was Florida's quality wins?
You can have. You're there in the SEC. You have good losses. You have good losses. They beat Tennessee. They beat a decent Tennessee team. They whooped them.
Decent Tennessee team. We're calling Tennessee decent these days. Jeez.
Tennessee's better than UTSA, I'll tell you that.
Based on what?
Based on facts.
No, based on nothing. Who did Tennessee lose to earlier this year? They lost to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh lost to Western Michigan.
Okay, but Pittsburgh's 4-1.
But their losses to Western Michigan, who you just kind of ignored and probably don't have nowhere near your top 25.
Oh, they're not in my top 180.
See, that's bogus. That's bogus. But okay, let's go. We got to move on.
All right, so 20-16. Tell me your wrong picks.
Number 20, coming in from number 22, North Carolina State. Coming in at number 19, previously unranked, Kentucky. Coming in at number 18, previously unranked, the Texas Longhorns. Coming in at number 17, previously number 12, the Ole Miss Rebels. And coming in at number 16, previously number 10, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Okay, now we're starting to make a little more sense here.
We're starting to make
I think we've come to conclusion that the 25-21 is reserved for you to make up whatever teams you want, and 20-1, that's when we start to be real.
No. 25 through 21 is where it gets, first of all, it gets tough down there because there's a lot of teams that are fighting for those final 5 spots of the rankings. Like I got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 on my just outside. No. I had 6 and I had to pick 2 for the 24 and 25. So look, it gets tough down there. And at that point, you're looking kind of at records. Look, UTSA and SMU are undefeated. Western Michigan has 1 loss to a top 10 team, and they beat a Pittsburgh team that's 4-1. So then, look, you got to look. You're going to take Texas Tech, who barely beat a FCS team, got destroyed. Got destroyed by UT, and they got a decent win against Houston. Are you taking that over a Western Michigan team who beat Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh's 4-1? Look, that's close. You're grabbing at straws at that point because it's pretty equal down there out of those few last spots. So I'm picking teams that I think have earned their ranking right there.
All right. Well, let me give you my 20-16.
Yeah, go ahead.
So number 20, I have Wake Forest. Number 19, I have Auburn. I thought the win at LSU was big. That was, even if they don't look fantastic. These are quality wins.
No.
Number 18, I have Texas. You have Texas at 18.
Yep.
Number 17, I have Kentucky. And then at number 16, I have Ole Miss.
So your 18 through 16 are solid. Your 20 and 19 are downright awful. Your 20 and 19 are downright.
How is Wake Forest at 20 downright awful?
Who do you have at 20 again?
I have Wake Forest. How is that awful?
Wake Forest. Because they look at who their wins are against. They got like Old Dominion. I think they got an FCS team. They got some. I think they have maybe one. Who was their best win? Tell me that right now.
Probably Louisville.
Louisville. That's it. And Louisville. That's it. That's their only even halfway decent win. And 20 is too high for them right now, even though they're undefeated. I got them at 24, but again, that was partially because they're undefeated more than anything.
You're just lucky. You're lucky I didn't put Texas in my top 5 where they belong.
And then 19, you had who again?
Wake Forest or Auburn.
Auburn, terrible. I don't even got them in my top 25.
I know, because you throw darts. You throw darts at a board with schools.
Don't throw darts. You're overrating their win against LSU. LSU, what? What's LSU's record over their last year? They were 5-5. They lost to UCLA. That put them at 5-6 in the last 11 games. I think they're maybe 500 in their last 14 games or something like that.
Okay.
Not a quality, decent, And they literally, the refs, I don't know if you watched the game against Georgia State, but the refs definitely cheated in the final drive to give them a first down that helped them win that game. Or they could have lost to Georgia State. So I don't have, and they already have a loss. That would have been lost too. I don't have Auburn. Auburn's, let me see. They're 29 for me. I got them at 29.
Yeah, that's crazy. You have Auburn higher than I have UTSA.
That's insane.
You mean to tell me that Auburn is better? UTSA is better than Auburn?
Auburn should have lost to Georgia State at home. They have a loss already. That should have been lost too. UTSA's undefeated. They beat Memphis. Yeah, UTSA's earned a higher spot than Auburn has. And I don't care who you think should win.
But that plays a role in it.
The higher ranking.
How can you not take that into consideration?
That's not the final say-all. It might have to do maybe with some tie-breaking situations, but no, there's no tie-breaking situation here. UTSA has earned a higher spot than Auburn has.
But UTSA has not earned it. They're playing nobody.
Memphis isn't nobody.
Memphis is the only team that's not nobody, and everybody else is a nobody.
They're undefeated. They're taking care of their business. You can't control.
Barely. They're barely taking care of their business. They're not even covering the spread on these wins.
We ranking teams over based on covering the spread. Come on now.
Yeah, we might as well.
This is the top 25.
We should rank teams based on covering the spread.
You got an Auburn team in here that has a loss. They should have 2 losses, including one to Georgia State. Come on, man. UTSA, show them some love.
Not yet. I have them at number 28. I have UTSA at 28. I have above them, I have Clemson at 26. And then I have Oregon State at 27.
Oregon State, I got them at 27.
Perfect. We both have them at 27.
Yeah, so we agree on some stuff and disagree on others. Anyways.
All right, so give me your 15 to 11.
15 through 11. Coming in at number 15. Moving from number 18, the San Diego State Aztecs. Coming in at number 14, staying put, previously number 14, Coastal Carolina. Coming in at number 13, dropping down from number 8, the Arkansas Razorbacks. Coming in at number 12, previously number 11, dropping 1 spot, the Ohio State Buckeyes. And coming in at number 11, last week, number 4, the Oregon Ducks.
You had Ohio State dropping?
Yes, partially because Oregon has to stay above them because Oregon beat them head to head.
They don't have to stay above them.
They have to stay ahead of them at this point in the season. They both have 1 losses. Oregon beat them at Ohio State Stadium. Ohio State, look, they looked great against Rutgers, but that's the only game they've looked great in. Yes, at this point, Oregon has to stay ahead of them.
Okay. My 15 through 11. At 15, I have Arkansas. At 14, I have Notre Dame. At 13, I have Coastal Carolina. I moved them up a little bit more. At 12, I have Oklahoma State. And then at 11, I have Oregon.
Where did you have Ohio State?
They're in my top 10.
Oh, my gosh. What are we doing here?
What do you mean?
Your rankings don't have no rhyme or reason.
Of course they have rhyme or reason.
How can Ohio State be ranked ahead of Oregon? Oregon beat them. They came across the country.
That's fine.
Coast,
that's fine.
All the way to the middle of nowhere, Ohio. and beat them head to head. Head to head matters. That's got to matter.
That matters. But here's what
more than anything. Here's what I
also take into consideration. How bad is your loss? Oregon's loss is significantly worse than Ohio State's loss.
The loss is to them, though.
Exactly. That's fine.
Head-to-head
loss was to Oregon, a ranked Oregon team. Oregon's loss is to a Stanford team.
Yeah, Stanford they might be the best 2-loss team in the nation right now. But anyways, it doesn't even matter. Head-to-head trumps everything, especially if the head-to-head is at the other team's stadium and you go across country and win. And we're not talking about like week 1 and now it's week 12. We're only a few weeks past that. Head-to-head outrides that loss to Stanford. Stanford they got 2 losses, but they also have a good win against USC. Now they have the win against Oregon. So they got some quality wins in there as well. So Stanford's not terrible. So if they lost to like Vanderbilt or something, perhaps that head-to-head gets overridden. But they didn't lose to a Vanderbilt. They lost to a solid Stanford team.
I think Oregon just blew their shot. They were the Pac-12 shot to make the playoffs, and they
were. And yeah, Pac-12 might be shot. They probably are shot. But they still got to stay ahead of Ohio State right now, especially. Ohio State hasn't done nothing to even remotely cancel out a head-to-head. I'll put head-to-head over everything. Perhaps, the Big Ten is definitely better than the Pac-12. Perhaps there's some wins because that game was so early in the season, and the Pac-12 is not as good as the Big Ten. Perhaps there's some wins in here that Ohio State could get down the road that could maybe jump Oregon.
Well, the Big Ten is like the Big Ten is stacked.
Exactly, which is why I said there might be some wins that Ohio State can get that cancels out that Oregon head-to-head loss. But at this point, there's no way. There's no way.
Okay, but that's a good opinion. But I'll stick with Ohio State in the top 10.
All right.
So give me your top 10, 10-6.
10-6. Coming in at number 10, biggest jump of the week. Coming in from number 20, Oklahoma State. Coming in at number 9, previously number 16, the Michigan Wolverines. Coming in at number 8, previously number 13, the Michigan State Spartans. Coming in at number 7, previously number 9, the BYU Cougars. And coming in at number 6, previously number 7, the Oklahoma Sooners.
Okay. So for me, number 10, I have Michigan State. Number 9, I have BYU. Number 8, I have Michigan.
Don't do this to me. Don't do this to
me. What am I not doing to you?
You haven't mentioned Ohio State yet for some reason. Why?
Number 7, I have Ohio State.
Gosh, dog it.
And number 6, I have Oklahoma.
Bro, you're so wrong. You're so wrong. Everything in there is halfway decent except Ohio State. Like, you can't do that. Yes, they whooped Rutgers, but it's still the Rutgers. Yeah, I was high on them. I thought Rutgers would compete. I was wrong. But we know Rutgers hasn't, and I've mentioned this too, Rutgers hasn't had the recruiting that they've had to have.
Hold on. So then if you want to play the scenario of like, well, they beat this team and then do this whole chain reaction. Well, Rutgers just went to Michigan and they lost by 7. That game was a no-biter. Ohio State went into Rutgers and beat the hell out of them. So
a loss is a loss. A loss is a loss. Yes, that happened. But look, those losses start piling up against the Rutgers. So we can't keep that win so high for Ohio.
And now Michigan State plays at Rutgers this weekend.
Yes. And look, I think this could be much closer than the Ohio State game. Look, Michigan State.
And so that just proves my point that Ohio State is better than
all it proves is that Ohio State has more talent. That's all it proves. So it makes it. Look, it proves Ohio State has more talent. It doesn't prove they're necessarily the better football team. So talent, when you have a lot of talent against a little bit of talent, you have a better chance of winning. So like Rutgers, look, Ohio State has more talent than Michigan State, right? And I'd say both of those teams probably have a little bit more talent than Rutgers, but it's that gap is a lot smaller for Michigan State. So the game's probably going to be closer. They can match up better. But Michigan State's talent is close enough to Ohio State's talent to perhaps, we don't know yet, but I'm just trying to make a point here. Michigan State talent might be close enough to Ohio State to beat Ohio State, whereas Rutgers, that gap is not small enough yet, which is why you see a blowout.
Okay.
So all it really shows is that Ohio State has more talent, and we know this. Ohio State gets 5 stars after 5-star, but that doesn't necessarily mean that if they play Michigan State head to head, they're going to beat Michigan State just because they whoop Rutgers and Michigan State barely beats Rutgers by 7. Because, yeah, obviously that gap in talent to the Rutgers is higher for Ohio State than it is Michigan State. But Michigan State's talent might be just close enough with good coaching to beat Ohio State. We don't know that yet.
Okay. All right, well, give me your 5-1.
My 5-1 is coming in at number 5, previously number 6, the Cincinnati Bearcats. Sorry, I got an Amber Alert. There we go. Coming in.
Yeah, I'm saying what's missing? Josh's 21 through 25.
No, not at all. Number 4, Penn State. Number 3, Iowa. Number 2, Georgia. And number 1, Alabama.
Okay, so I have number 5, Penn State. I have number 4, Cincinnati. I thought that win at Notre Dame was just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, Iowa. And if I'm being honest, there is no number 2. It's 1A and 1B.
That's
Georgia
fair.
and Alabama.
That's fair. I give Bama the nod just because they're Bama. There ain't no doubt about that.
But this Georgia team is scary. Like,
Yeah.
you cannot tell me that Nick Saban or anybody from Alabama is watching that Georgia game or watching Georgia highlights and thinking, damn, they're good. Like, I mean, they're going to play them in the SEC championship game. Here's the scenario, Josh. I drew up a scenario for you because this will happen. So,
Okay.
assuming Cincinnati wins out, which we hope they do because they'll be the first hope of the G5 schools to make the playoffs.
Right.
They'll win out. It'll be Iowa, assuming Iowa can win out. That's not a given either because they got
Penn State. They got Penn State this week.
They got Penn State at home. But yes, they have Penn State. They'll have to eventually go through Ohio State. So let me just pose this question to you because it is going to happen at the end of the season. Alabama and Georgia, they will go undefeated this season. Does the loser of that game still make the playoffs?
If they're both undefeated at that time, yeah.
I think the question is obviously yes. Like,
If they're both. I think they will both be undefeated.
I think they
It's
will.
not
They
a
will.
guarantee,
I'm telling
but
you.
if they are.
No,
if
they will
are,
both be undefeated, and the loser of that game in the championship game should still be in the top 4.
Probably so, especially this year. Probably because, look, Ohio State's down. The Pac-12 doesn't have a great team. I'm not sold on the Big 12 just yet. So, yeah, I mean, look, teams are down this year. So, yeah, with as great as those two teams are, then in most years I might not agree with that statement. But this year, as from what we've seen so far, then, yes, I'd agree with that.
And then let me pose another problem to you. What if Oklahoma let's say what if Ohio State wins out? What if they do beat Penn State? What if they do beat Michigan? Then what if they do beat Iowa in the Big Ten championship game? What if they do win out? Cincinnati wins out. Georgia, Alabama win out. What if Oklahoma loses, which we all assume that they will at some point? I'm looking at a potential Ohio State getting in, but you could potentially put in an undefeated BYU in. So they're going to say, what's better, a one-loss Ohio State that beat all these teams or an undefeated BYU?
Look, if Ohio State wins out, they're going to put them in. It doesn't matter if they should be in or not. They're Ohio State. The committee will just put them in flat out. Doesn't matter. They'll have good wins as well. As obviously
They'll have a lot of good wins. And I think this year more than previous years, it would be more deserving because, I agree with you. Just because they're Ohio State, they'll be putting them in, but they would really have to earn it this year compared to other years.
So you got Bama and Georgia. I think both of those teams are going to get in, and then the question kind of becomes who's the 3 and 4 spots that are going to be in the playoffs.
You got to assume. I don't want to say it's safe to assume because we don't know, but we want to assume that Cincinnati will win out and get the other playoff spot, right?
I think they're going to win out. Look, the American Conference isn't terrible. There's a few games they could trip up on.
They still got Cincinnati. They still got to play SMU.
They still got to play SMU. They still got UCF's banged up, and I guess look, SMU. I'm trying to think of maybe somebody else in there that could give them a run for their money, but I guess the main team would be SMU at this point. They do got a very good chance at running the table. They got 2 quality wins already. SMU would be probably be a third quality win at that point in the year. It just depends what happens around Cincinnati. Like I said, if Ohio State wins out from this point in, that's 1 spot because they're going to be in. That will be 3. But who's going to be the 4? Because the ACC doesn't have anybody that's making it.
No.
The Pac-12 probably doesn't have anybody that's making it.
Nope. So then you just got to assume it's probably going to be a Big Ten team.
You got to either ask yourself, is there a Big 12 team that makes it?
Oklahoma has a chance if they go undefeated. But we don't think that they're going to go undefeated.
No, not necessarily. They got a great chance at losing this week. I'm going for Texas. I don't go for Texas hardly ever, but I'm going for them in this game for that reason. Kind of just muddy things up in the Big 12 and make things a little easier on Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going for Texas in that game. Look, if no one if Texas loses one more and Oklahoma even loses, if Oklahoma loses to Texas and then Texas loses one more, the Big 12's in a hell of some trouble. And then Oklahoma State.
Wait, so do you mean if Texas beat Oklahoma, but they win out the rest of the season, that they have a chance? I don't think that they do.
Oh yeah, they do. They're Texas, bro.
Yeah, but I don't think that they have a chance.
They get the benefit of the doubt. If Texas beats Oklahoma this week, they're going to fly up to probably around number 10, somewhere close at least to number 10, just like that. Maybe 12-ish or something.
I will say Texas's remaining schedule is tough.
They still got what? Oklahoma State.
So the following week after Oklahoma, you have a home game against Oklahoma State, which Oklahoma State would be a top 10 team.
Look, if they win both of those games right there, they're going to be like number 7, number 8. They'll be right there in the mix. Yeah, Texas.
But then your next 2 games are at Baylor and then at Iowa State, which Texas at Iowa State haven't fared well of late.
Yeah, I don't see Texas winning out, but if they do, I think they'll be in a playoff.
Wow, that's something that I didn't think about.
And but yeah, man, I'm trying to figure out like Cincinnati. I think has a decent chance for the reason I already mentioned that there's the Clemson's down, which means the entire ACC's down because the ACC outside of Clemson isn't very good.
Mm-hmm.
When you're comparing them to like the Big Ten and SEC. So ACC's out. The only team that remotely has a chance probably in the Pac-12 is maybe still Oregon because of their Ohio State win if they win out. But that Stanford loss is pretty bad. People don't really like the Pac-12 too much.
They don't like the Pac-12 too much because they played 2 hours behind.
That hurts them.
A lot of their primetime games are when people
part of it. The Pac-12 isn't great either. Pac-12 isn't great, and they play 2 hours behind. People don't get to watch them, so it's a combination of things. Oregon. I like Cincy's chances maybe against an Oregon team that runs the table and a Cincy team that runs the table from this point on. I think you might have like an argument there, but Cincy still has a decent chance. To me, the biggest question is, does somebody run the table in the Big 12? And is there a second team? Could two teams make it out of the Big 10? Because
I don't see two teams making it out of the Big 10, even though the Big 10 is a really good conference.
It's a really good conference, and it's probably not out of the question, because you're going to have to ask at the end of the season possibly, do we want a second Big 10 team? Do we want Cincy, or do we want BYU? That might be the question.
Well, that could be your question, but okay. Well, then here's I'm going to pose another problem to you, because you do bring up a good point. What if Iowa runs the table, and then they lose to Ohio State in the championship game? Is Iowa still? You think Iowa is better than Cincinnati?
I think that's a toss-up right there.
Because that right there, that's going to be the problem. Because they're going to put Alabama, they're going to put Georgia, they'll probably put Ohio State, and then that fourth one is going to go either to Cincinnati or Iowa.
So I don't like doing the if they played game, but if they played, I could see this one being a toss-up. Pretty close. As far as the committee goes, Iowa's not going to get the same kind of love as Ohio State, a Texas, a Oklahoma. They're not going to get the same kind of benefit of the doubt as those teams. If they were to lose in the Big Ten championship, I don't know, man. It's tough.
I'm looking at Iowa's schedule now.
At that point, I think we find out how much the committee and ESPN really hate the non-A5 team. Because look, those conferences lose out on money if somebody like Cincy sneaks in, and I believe the television partners also will lose out on money as well if a team like Cincy gets in.
I think Cincy's best case scenario is, first of all, they got to win out. Second of all, they got to. Best case scenario for them is everybody stays how it is, and they get in and hope that Iowa wins out, because I think that they would all get in. But also looking at Ohio State's schedule, Ohio State, they all their tough games are at home. So they have Penn State at home. They have Michigan State at home, but they're playing at Michigan. But also, Ohio State had Michigan's number for the last 10 years.
I don't think that gap's quite as large this year.
I don't know. It's hard to say. It's really hard to tell. I don't know. But also, okay,
look, I have Michigan State at 8. No, I have Iowa at 3, Penn State at 4, Michigan State at 8, Michigan at 9, and Ohio State at 12. That's like 5 teams in the top 12 right there from the Big 10.
They're a good conference. We agree. They're a great conference this year. So how can and then the SEC, they're good, but they're very top heavy.
That's every year. That's every year with the SEC. Really.
So it's like it has to be Alabama and Georgia. I mean, that's a given, because they are going to go undefeated this season until they meet in the SEC championship game. But on that, let's talk about some games, some big games this weekend in college. So I got 4 big games that I'm looking at. I'm looking at number 4 Penn State at Iowa. That's going to obviously tell us about both of those teams. Mm-hmm. We got the Red River rivalry. We got Oklahoma versus Texas. Again, we just talked about that. We got Arkansas at Ole Miss, both of them just coming off a loss against the top 2 teams in America.
Yeah, talk about needing a W for both of those teams to stay, kind of relevant, staying in the top 10 conversation.
To stay relevant, but also to stay in the top 25. They could potentially be out.
I think loser will probably be, around that, between that 21 and 25 range. But, if you really want to be relevant in the talks for even still having a remote chance at the playoffs, for having a chance at least the New Year's Six game. Big, huge game for those 2 teams coming off the loss.
And then a couple other games I'm looking at, Georgia at Auburn. You won't see. We'll see.
Oh, man. Okay, we're about to really find out all about that Auburn team this week. And look, it ain't going to be pretty. I'll tell you that. What's the line on that game?
Look, here's another one because I know the line is, I think, 14.5.
Okay. Yeah, take the over. Take Georgia to cover.
I think I was actually talking about this to somebody else. In order for Auburn to have a chance, this is going to be a low scoring game for Auburn. So this has to be a low scoring game for Georgia as well.
Yeah, good luck.
Some teams on upset alert. I'm looking at Michigan State at Rutgers.
I hear you on that one.
I'm looking at number 19 Wake Forest at Syracuse. I think that's a good upset alert one right there. And the line, I think, is 6.5.
Okay, that's sneaky. I like it though.
Another upset alert one, and it's just because you and I both talked about, we don't know how we feel yet about them. Number 9 Michigan at Nebraska.
Look, both Michigan State and Michigan, I'm not 100% sold on either of those teams just yet. It's more about what they've kind of done, the resume compared to others. It's kind of why they're in the top 10. But who did you say Michigan has?
At Nebraska.
I think Michigan's going to win somewhere around 7. But it might. What is the spread on that game?
I don't know. I don't know what the spread. Let me see. I don't know what the spread is on that one. Let me see here.
Got to be in the 7-point range, right?
It's 3.5.
3.5. Okay.
It's a Saturday night game.
Goodness gracious, bro. I'm taking Michigan to cover that.
Okay.
What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, that's why I have it in my upset alert. I don't know.
I know. I think it could be closer than I guess what a lot of people would think, but 3.5 seems pretty low to me.
Let me end off on this last upset alert here that the line is at 1. So it's basically a pick 'em. Mm-hmm. Number 14 Notre Dame at Virginia Tech.
Give me Notre Dame.
You think so?
Virginia Tech, every year they get overranked and then they just kind of dwindle away. Notre Dame still has more talent than Virginia Tech does. It's probably going to be semi-close because neither offense is great.
Yeah.
But, I think Notre Dame's a better team, probably a better coach too. It's at Virginia Tech, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take Notre Dame. I feel probably better. Do I feel better about that one than Michigan, Nebraska? It's pretty close, honestly.
Yeah.
But I would take both of them. I'd probably buy a half a point to get it to 3 in that Michigan, Nebraska game. But -1. Basically, you giving me a pick 'em between the Notre Dame and Virginia Tech all day.
Okay.
And unless Notre Dame's got some injuries I don't know about, but yeah.
Okay.
Easy money.
Well, hey, let's say you and I do another little video on some spreads, win some money out there. I think you and I both agree that we'll give you all our opinions on NFL spreads, but we ain't betting on NFL spreads anymore. Nope, not again. But college football, I'm all about it. I'm all about talking spreads. I love it. So keep an eye out on that. We want to win y'all some money. Remember, 10% goes to us. But we're gonna talk all things. We're gonna keep talking football and all that. So we'll see how this weekend plays out. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Check us out Instagram at those two dudes podcast. Those two dudes, Spotify, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. Like and subscribe, thumbs up, follow,
notification bell,
share.
That's how you get noticed when we got a video that drops.
Yeah, why wouldn't you want to watch us? Are y'all crazy? Yeah, come on now. But appreciate it, guys. We're gonna keep doing all this football. Again, we're getting more into the spreads. We're all about losing money for us, but winning y'all some money. So keep an eye on that. But Let us know what y'all want to hear. Let us know in the comments what we got wrong this week. Should UTSA be in the top 25 or should they be in the top 50? You let us know. How good is Auburn really? And also let us know what teams you guys think are going to make the top 4, the playoff as of today, the top 4. That's always big. So let us know, guys, but we appreciate it. As always, it's that dude, Josh.
That's that dude, Ruben.
Hit that button, subscribe. Let's go.